tell you, the room is filled with spirits of all of my family, all of Trisha's family, all of Chi-Chi's family, all of your family that's ever been that has died is surrounding us in this room. What do you feel in that part of your body? Name it. Give that emotion a name.
In my gut, I feel numbness.
Okay.
Like I feel nothing. Like it's like it's blocked. Like I'm not. My subconscious is just not allowing me to accept that.
Okay. What does it feel when you feel nothing?
Secure.
It feels secure to feel nothing. Okay. So can you tell me a time when you were insecure? Can you go into your childhood and tell me a time when you were insecure?
About anything?
About anything. The first thing that comes to mind. Don't think too hard. Feel.
I'm trying to think.
Go into that security or that insecurity and try to connect with that. When weren't you safe?
I did always feel that stupid fear of dark, and it got worse when I had my own room and I was in England and I was living in a storage house. So I always felt like there was something downstairs and I didn't want to go to the bathroom because it was right in front of the stairs.
Was the bathroom downstairs?
No, but it was right from across the hall from what it would be the dark stairs.
Okay. I want you to visualize that 2-story house in England. And I want you to walk towards that bathroom door. I don't want you to go in yet, but I want you to walk towards that bathroom door. And I want you to find the darkest space that you can find. Are you there? What do you feel?
There could be something there.
What could be there?
Something that wants to scare me or hurt me.
Okay, can you go and call it out and find out what's there? Can you look around? Can you ask it to show up?
Yeah. There's nothing there.
Okay, are you looking around? Are you calling out?
Yeah.
How does it feel to see that there's nothing there?
It's become clear.
Okay, what do you see now that it's clear?
Just the corner of the stairs.
Okay. Can you go closer into that darkness and make sure, I want you to make really sure that there's nothing there.
Yeah. I'm there. There's nothing.
Okay, can you check in with your heart and can you check in with your gut and see how you feel now that you've confronted that?
More relaxed.
So can you take a deep breath and then open your eyes? Okay, thank you. You can go back to your seat. With anxiety, you want to bring the client to their fear. It's just fear of the past, something they've already experienced, or the future, something they think they will experience. That's it. Why did I ask her to tell us where in her body she felt the emotion? And why did I ask her to give it a name? In the clinical, did you bring that other second clinical
No.
packet? Okay, it's fine. No, it's fine. I gave you guys a handout where there was an emotion wheel with primary emotions and then a secondary emotion wheel. That's one of the reasons that I gave you that handout, okay? When clients have difficulty giving names of emotions, you can help. You can help guide them. But what you want is for them to really target an emotion that exists. So she talked about confusion, okay? And she was afraid of the dark. There was afraid that something might be there, okay? And she was saying earlier that she had to sleep with the lights on. So it tied right into something from childhood. You want to have clients name the emotion so that they have a precise feeling that they're dealing with. You had a question?
No, going back earlier, with her aunt in the hospital, maybe I'm being judgmental or whatnot.
Okay,
Sorry
we're all
if I'm-
judgmental. It's a being aware of
Could
it that
it
matters.
be, God, now I forgot the word that I was using, but could it be that since she had said that she was the translator and her knowing that her aunt didn't have that chance, but her aunt, I don't know if I misunderstood, you guys made her believe that she did have a chance, or she also knew that she didn't have a chance?
To the last minute, she would even come to my house
So-
and say, when I get past this, when I get cured, we're gonna get drunk and we're gonna have beer everywhere.
Okay.
So she honestly believed that she was gonna get
But
better.
you guys
didn't keep
yeah, did you
the-
guys keep
the
yeah,
The
exactly.
fact that she was that
So-
ill from her.
I don't wanna ask.
Yeah.
I wanna ask.
Until
Okay.
last
Is
minute.
it-
Great, I
Is
want
it-
you to be
now the words
enthusiastic.
came back to
Perfect.
me.
You have a
Was it-
hypothesis.
yeah,
What's
was
your
it-
hypothesis?
Was it maybe that she felt remorse towards the fact that they knew she was gonna die and the aunt didn't know, so that's maybe what scared her and she didn't want to accept that?
Okay,
I
is that your
don't-
question to
I
the
just-
client?
Yeah.
Okay,
that
but
was-
what's your hypothesis? What is
That-
making you ask that question? So your hypothesis is that there's remorse there.
Yeah. Because
Where are you getting that hypothesis?
Well,
What are you
the
thinking? What's your
protection,
theory?
Going back to the protection thing with the fact that they're keeping it from her, they're trying to protect the aunt at the end of the day.
Okay, so that she's guilty? That,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
she lied?
Yeah, like
Okay,
yeah.
but what is the educated guess?
I just don't know how to put
I
it.
I think what she's trying to get at, since we mentioned, the eyes, they're watching me, so maybe they're like judging me. Maybe she thinks, oh, why do you think that they're watching you? Why do you think that they're judging you? Did you do something that they should be watching you about? Is that something?
Yeah, like is that
Like, why
again,
do you feel
the
guilty?
feeling of the
Okay,
remorse?
Okay,
Yeah.
so what I went to was a mother protection, that would, the eye, but it could be the eye of watching when she said paranoia, because she did something wrong.
Right.
Perfect.
That's what.
Do you see how you had a theory?
Yeah.
You had an idea, you had an educated guess, you had a hypothesis about it, and then she asked the question. But you have to have an idea of why you're asking that question.
Yeah.
What model would that be?
My hypotheses or my
Yeah. What theory, what theoretical perspective would that be?
I thought it was
Yeah, cognitive or behavioral. I was thinking
I
behavioral because of
biological.
reinforcement, but because it's a thought, maybe more cognitive. Okay, so try to get in the habit of when you're asking a question, what's the hypothesis, what theoretical perspective am I working from? Just to get in the habit. Why? Because then you're going to see where you tend to work from. That's your theoretical perspective. I don't care. I have mine. I went straight to symbol. I went straight to a Jungian depth psychology, to a psychoanalytic. I saw an eye, I saw symbol, I thought protection, I thought, evil eye, I wrote it on the board, I thought of religion, the dollar bill, Freemasonry, that's where I went, boom. And of course I have a spiritual philosophy
Can I
too.
just make a comment? I'm gonna take a little bit of everything and just come up with this thing.
Her hypothesis
Hypothesis.
is.
Okay, so, because you mentioned that you were the translator, that you kept this from her, saying that she wasn't gonna make it through this. Could this anxiety be from the guilt that you had a chance to tell her the truth, but you or as a family decided not to?
I wanted to tell her. Everybody else wanted to.
So there's a little bit of a conflict there too then. If you wanted to, but you were the translator, you were the
You were the
person that would
mouth.
tell her, and yet you were told that you couldn't, even though you wanted to.
Well, and interestingly enough, if she is the only one in the family of the Jehovah Witness, I don't know if everyone believes that, and now you believe that she is actually around, then you can actually speak and say something. What was that?
I was gonna ask all those questions. Just first, it was gonna be, do you feel any guilt about
Okay.
not telling your aunt?
Okay, perfect. So
Then-
what's your hypothesis?
Well,
The same?
very similar, Professor. And I was gonna ask you also, are you a practicer? Do you practice that religion? Do you know? So, did you learn? Like when you were growing up, did you try to, I don't know, read the rules, or I don't know how the book is?
I grew up learning how to read with the Bible studies.
'Cause-
So that's how, every single day at a certain hour, I would be doing my study for religion. So I have my studying time for school and my studying time for religion.
Right. I don't know.
But
if
I
it's the
never,
same.
once I grew up, I never, went to, church and stuff like that.
Okay,
But
how
for
old were
other-
you?
When I stopped,
No, when you started.
when I started, since I was born,
Okay, 0 to 7.
Mhm.
You have a theme right there in the basket, in the box, religion. Just to backwards, just for my own curiosity, what happened during pregnancy with your mom? Was she in the church? Was she devout? Or your parents?
back then it was almost illegal to be a Jehovah's Witness in Cuba. Even if we had to go to church would be somebody's house, super quiet. We have to get together.
Quiet. You have to keep
Yeah.
it silent.
Yeah.
There has to be a theme, people. And how did your parents meet?
They used to live in the same street.
And when they had you, did they keep you quiet?
No.
They were married, they were all
Yeah, they were
legit?
married, yeah.
Any story around your conception or pregnancy
Uh,
that you know?
not that I know of.
Okay. I mean, in a session, you can explore more, you can just ask the question and run, but we already got the silence. We already got shh. So there is a thing here
And
with
that's
keeping things
repeated.
quiet, right?
Now it's repeated because everyone, keep it quiet, you don't wanna tell your aunt that this is it.
And I
Yeah.
tell you what, now that you guys are bringing this up, it's, all the little neurons in my head are connecting to each other and saying,
Yeah.
bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
The emotions, you start triggering.
It's,
Absolutely start triggering. And actually in addicts, one of the reasons that addicts drink and smoke and do more and more and more is that more receptors are created and then they need more and more and more and more. So when we start healing or start sort of bringing light to some of these things, we get some of that. Remember, one of the things was losing our mind or not remembering. We start getting some of our memory back. What chakra, and I'm just using it for the colors, this is a dream catcher, but with the colors of the chakra. What chakra is silence? Which chakra is the throat? Do we remember what they mean? What's the red one? The first chakra. Second chakra is a sacral, a sexual center. Your third chakra was where you said that you felt the confusion and the numbness. Oh no, the confusion was up here, the love. So she's confused about her love center. Is love something you keep quiet? Was it true that I loved her if I kept quiet, for instance? That could have been a question I asked. That's the fourth. The third is the gut where she was numb. This is the fifth. The fifth is blue. Okay? When the throat is suffocated, we could be blue. It happens when we're being raped. It happens sometimes when we want to scream and nothing comes out. So there could be a thyroid issue. There could be issues in the throat with the client. If the client shows up with issues in the throat or anything in this area, it could be that they're dealing with fifth chakra issues or thyroid issues and things like that. What did we learn about the thyroid? What did we learn was a conflict linked to the fifth chakra?
Oh, time.
Time.
Yes.
Yes. Time.
I just saw her with
That's very good.
Yes, time.
Yeah.
The thyroid and the fifth chakra is linked directly to time, okay? The thyroid regulates everything in the body. So, and there are lectures on YouTube about this that I gave, but we'll do more and more. But the fifth chakra is blue, and it's here. And a lot of times people that have thyroid issues are struggling. So when you do you have any issues with your thyroid, or do you have any issues with your throat?
Well, I had surgery and got my tonsils removed, and that time I couldn't speak. Because they heard my tongue and I wasn't able to speak. Like literally, like I was.
Oh, no, no, I believe you, absolutely, because it's in her origin story. It's in her origin story. She cannot practice her religion. She could not tell her aunt. She has a fifth chakra issue. We probably, if we continued, we would have probably figured out that some of her emotional stuckness came from her fifth chakra. So this is a time issue. I did not have the time to tell my aunt. Now her aunt has passed. If she does not create a belief that her aunt is still here, she will never have the time to tell her aunt she's sorry. Would you like to tell your aunt you're sorry? Or is it too difficult because you don't believe it yet?
It's like I feel like I don't want to accept it and I don't want to go there
It's
because
too soon.
that means that.
It's too soon.
It's
There's
gone.
a time issue. Pedro.
I'm sorry, Professor. I think
No, don't sorry. Go.
I really.
You have a hypothesis.
No,
Hit
I
it.
do think that you need to study a little more about the afterlife, because the little knowledge that I have about Jehovah is that it's not that there's an afterlife, but there's a reincarnation into something else. So I think, yes, you need to study, because it might help, to get past that.
So we
Oh,
educate clients.
right.
We don't have to say need to. We have to
Okay.
watch our language.
Got it.
But it might benefit you.
Right.
Or, exactly what you said, with my limited knowledge about, like I know one thing about Jehovah's Witness, why they don't celebrate birthdays. It's the only thing I know.
That's
That is the
only.
only
But
thing I know.
Also, they supposedly they don't go to hospitals because they believe they're gonna be healed. Like,
Okay, like
They're
The faith will
science,
cure it.
science,
Right.
Christian scientists believe that
Correct.
too.
Right.
Okay, so right there, that's another incongruency. You could have started, since you know that, that's another incongruency. Wait a minute. If it's Jehovah's Witness and they don't go to hospitals, but yet your aunt went to hospitals, can you tell me a little bit about that? Right there, you're already making doubt in the client. So you could say, hold on a second, what do you know about the afterlife? What little bit do you know? I'm asking you
oh, what do I?
to tell me, yeah. What do
From
you
the
know
religion?
about Jehovah? Yes.
That they're gonna reincarnate, but I don't remember if it's into another person or if it is like the
Into
Hindu that they can reincarnate to another animal or
It's the
something
same.
else.
It's the same person, but it will only happen when this lifetime is over, and then everybody's dead. Then everybody comes back to life with their own form,
Right.
and they have I think it's 1,000 years to live again, but in a perfect way. So no sins, nothing that's bad, and God will give us 1,000 days to 1,000 years to get used to being perfect. And once we are perfect, then I guess the world would turn into paradise, what we consider paradise, in the study. So it would be this same earth, so there's no, oh my God, the earth is gonna explode. And so it's the same earth but made perfect, like he initially intended to.
Okay, so I couldn't have asked that question because I didn't know that, but you could have. So I'm just going to use a moment pretending to be Pedro. And I asked you, I know very little about Jehovah's Witness, but I have heard that there is actually the term reincarnation in Jehovah's Witness. Can you tell me a little bit about that? And you just did. What I'm hearing, well, Nellis, what I'm hearing is that then the body doesn't just die, because if you're going to reincarnate, that soul must go somewhere. Where does it go?
It goes nowhere.
But where is it in the waiting period until we reincarnate?
That there's no waiting period. It's just God will give you like birth again. So that's the belief.
So you
there's
die
no
and you
there's no
reborn.
limbo. There's no, oh, you're waiting in paradise for your loved one to die and join you in paradise. No, there's nothing. That's it.
It
You're-
disintegrates
yeah.
into the ground.
Yeah.
I was gonna say sorry before Professor. was
Guys,
talking.
stop apologizing. This is critical. This is what
No,
it
I
is.
know.
It's not about me talking. It is about this. This is good.
When you do get the chance to, surpass this period of, yell it out. Like, yell out, I'm sorry. And I think it'll release a lot of.
Okay, so that could be a
like,
homework.
yeah, exactly.
His homework would perhaps be educate yourself more.
Get more.
Or what you could do is, in your next session with her, hand her something to read.
I'm sorry. Have you considered reading about other religions to see?
Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
Oh, that's right, I forgot you had a question.
No, that's a good question. I would, along with education, is maybe perhaps suggesting that that if she has a belief, which it sounds like she's fighting with that belief of maybe believing that there is an afterlife. There are many religions that you could study on your own. There's even a series on CNN, I think it was. They did a whole series on different religions.
I know.
Well, there's
I've
a
seen
great
it
book called Religions of the World
with what's
by Houston, I think is his last name, or
the guy, the
Houston.
really famous guy with like the really good voice.
Yes, he's doing a
Oh,
great
yeah.
series on
I've
it.
seen it.
Morgan
I've seen
Freeman.
it.
It was
Morgan
like just
Freeman.
started. I
Yes.
didn't finish it.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, I want to.
It really
I wanna
was.
do that. So things like that, like Pedro's saying, is educate yourself on other religions, because it sounds like since you were brought up as a Jehovah's and you don't necessarily want to stay there, it sounds like some of your conflict within yourself is not knowing what to do.
Well, and that's ambiguity,
Right.
and that's confusion, and that's dissonance, and that's all the things we talked about.
I mean,
So we have a perfect time now for this client to re-educate herself and find something new. And we can use the next 6 weeks to do education with the client. Is your hopes to find a new religion?
yeah, because it may not be.
And then you have to ask, is your hopes to find a
May
new
not be.
religion?
Not really.
Okay.
Then
Is
I
your
feel-
hopes to get more educated about your religion? Because you said you're not practicing, you told him you weren't practicing.
I guess the reason why I've never really wanted to like branch out and say, hey mom, guess what? I don't believe what you believe anymore, is because for this long, even though I've had my fears of the dark and stuff, I've always found myself being back at him and feeling secured and feeling safe. So whenever I felt scared within my same room, I would create this imaginative kind of like force that it would just cover me in protection whenever I did a prayer to him. So
But it's not working right now.
it's
'Cause
not
you
working
haven't
right now.
slept and you're paranoid.
'Cause
So
if
something is happening, it's not working.
if I accepted 100% of him again, that means that she is 100% gone. And if she's 100% gone, I guess I'm not ready to have her 100% gone.
What would it do to your secret if she's 100% gone?
Well, she found out the
She
last
found
minute.
out on her deathbed.
Yeah. Well, right
I don't
before.
know.
What would it
found
do
out.
to your guilt, or what would it do to you, your possibility to apologize if she's 100% gone?
I don't know, because I don't think I feel guilty.
Oh,
I don't think,
okay.
I
Okay,
don't
that's a
think.
different
Okay.
story.
Yeah,
Resistance.
I don't think I feel guilty.
Resistance.
So
The
you
client,
slowly-
and you let it go.
Because
There's a whole other way
Yeah.
to
I did
work with
feel-
the client.
I did feel
This is
really-
perfect.
That's
This
why-
is every step that we covered on Tuesday. You
That's
didn't
why
know
I
about
said
it, but
what I
you're doing
said.
every single step. Excellent.
That's why I said what I said, because I went through it with my dad, and I've come out of it now. But that's why I say, when I say sorry, I said it out loud, and I was able to breathe and it gave me peace of mind.
Okay, so in a space like that, you share what you
Yeah.
did rather than saying, do this.
No, right, exactly.
What I
Right.
discovered when this happened to me is XYZ. Do you want to try that together?
Yeah.
Or do you want to do that for homework?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we want to try to give the client homework. That's something that we try to do, so that would be a good thing. I asked her if she was ready to, you know, to talk to her or ask, you know, for the forgiveness, and she says, that,
No.
I'm not going there. Okay, I would have said write a letter to her,
Yeah.
you know, and maybe bring it in next week and we can read it out loud and maybe do some sort of ceremony, because that's what I practice from. So depending on what you practice from, you're gonna do what you will, but she wasn't ready.
Right.
So the moment you can counter that resistance, there's other things to do. But each of you started with a hypothesis, and I want you to become very aware. With anxiety, we're covering up a deep-seated emotion. An emotion that is there from very, very long time ago. According to my model, it's from the moment of conception. According to each of these theories, it's going to be according to their theory. So you're going to have your own belief system. But let's just say 0 to 7. Most people can believe, I think most people believe in the 0 to 7 in a psychoanalytic sort of perspective or developmental sort of perspective, whether it's Erikson or Freud, that personalities develop by 7. Most of these things are sort of, you know, solidified by then. And I think a lot of people have that belief system. So we're just going to go with that for today. So I want 2 people, 2 new people, client and therapist, but I want us to work with the underlying emotions. Did you guys see what I did with her when I said, I want you to feel this emotion? Where do you feel this in the body? I want you to trigger the emotion. Then I want you to take the client into the emotion. And I'm going to give you an example. We have got to feel comfortable taking clients to places where they don't feel comfortable. If the client's erroneous belief is that they are a slut, then you take them to being a slut and watching them perform a sexual act and disgustedness, and you have them connect with that disgust that they feel about performing that sexual act. Why? Why would we want to do this?
We see what she's feeling because of that.
Confronting.
You're confronting. You're confronting it. You take them to the present. So it's true. So, what now? What can happen now that you admitted it, now that you saw it, more importantly, now that you felt it, now that you cried, now that you released the emotion? Now what?
That's it. You did it.
What-
You
what-
confronted
what now?
it. Do
So
you
you're a
still
stupid
feel like a
bitch.
slut?
So you're a loser. So you're an asshole. What now? I have this client, she lives in Amsterdam, and her whole thing was waiting. She was waiting and waiting. Waiting is an ego thing, that's the future, right? She's waiting for something to happen. So I asked her to go into a moment from childhood, so we're going to use that premise. You'll have your client close their eyes, and I'll be with you so you can sample, and then maybe we'll break out in groups. I haven't decided yet. Maybe we'll just do 2 samples. And everyone can interject. It's not just one therapist, but we'll need one for the, you know, just for the case. And I'm like, you're just waiting and waiting and waiting. So I'm like, close your eyes and tell me what you're feeling. And she was bored. Of course you're bored. You're bored out of your mind when you're just waiting. And I'm like, where do you feel the boredom? I don't remember. It was probably the 3rd chakra. It was probably the gut. And we're sitting there. Or maybe it was the 2nd chakra because it had to do with the legs, 1st and 2nd. I don't remember. It was a while ago. And I'm like, what are you waiting for? And she's like, well, I'm waiting for someone to come and like someone to give me a doll and someone to like make my life exciting and, you know, all of these things. She was a little girl. I think the memory that she evoked was maybe 6 or 7 years old. And that's the thing. She was waiting to let someone else give her a life. She was waiting. She was giving her power over to someone else. So I had her get up play with her doll, walk out of the room, go make herself a sandwich. I actually had her do stuff in the session, closing her eyes, imagining that she was the one in charge. Like, okay, did you die now that you did this? Did something happen now that you took charge of your own life? And she felt like